Hi, everyone, and welcome to tonight's webinar on financing your future. We will be covering financial aid and support for Canadian ACSOM students. I'm just going to wait for a few more folks to come in before we get started. But while we're here, why don't you go ahead and let me know in the chat where you are calling in from today. My name is Christine. I am located in Peterborough. For my American colleagues, I tell them I am just outside of Toronto, but since it's just Canadian students on today, I can be honest with my location and you'll probably know where I'm located. So feel free to put where you're located in the chat, and then we can get started. Okay, I'm just resending the link to my colleague who is supposed to be joining us. So just give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So welcome to everyone joining here today. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to come and see what we have to offer and some of the availabilities to you as a Canadian student here at ACSOM. My name is Christine, as I mentioned. I'm the Canadian Enrollment Coordinator. That is my contact information. So if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to reach out. You can send me an email, you can text or call me. I'm really here to support you through your entire journey from application to arrival on the island. So if you have questions about the admissions process or prerequisite courses, you want to know what your housing is going to be like or where you're at in the enrollment funnel, please reach out to me and we can kind of go through that all together. I do one-on-one appointments. I do pre-assessments. So if you have your transcript and your MCAT score and you'd like to know kind of where you're at, I can do pre-assessments for you that way as well. So today I'll be going over our mission and our vision and a little bit more about ACSOM in detail. And then I'll be going over financial aid and tuition. So just a little bit about ourselves and kind of how we all came to be. Dr. Arvind Bhagapur, he actually went to a Caribbean medical school. He had a little bit of a bad day with his MCAT, and it just wasn't what he knew he could do academically. But he went to a Caribbean medical school instead of one in America. And his brother was going through American medical school at the same time. And he just found that he wasn't getting the same quality of education that his brother was getting in America. So he wanted to make sure that if you were one of the limited seats in Canada, there's so many students that apply to medical school, but only so few seats, so that if you were one of those students who wasn't lucky enough to get in, you weren't disadvantaged at all. You were going to get the same education as your North American counterparts. So that's how ACSOM came to be. We are non-for-profit, which I'll get into in a little bit, but at no point, if you have to study in the Caribbean because of the limited medical seats here in Canada, will you be disadvantaged in your education. You are going to get a state-of-the-art curriculum, you're going to learn from top doctors, and you're going to graduate with less debt so you can come back home to Canada easier and support our healthcare system. Dr. Bhagapur is also very keen on connecting with students. So if you ever want to email him or text him or WhatsApp him, he's very keen on connecting with students. So that is his contact information. But he's not here tonight, so I won't let you, I won't offer his contact information on his behalf. So for ACSOM, as I mentioned, we do have a unique approach to our medical education. You are going to get small class sizes, early clinical exposure, and we do have a strong passion with our social mission. So I'll get into it a little bit here, each of those points here. So our curriculum was actually designed by Dr. Jeffrey Wong. He was the former medical school dean at Yale University. So you are going to get a state-of-the-art curriculum that was designed kind of by doctors for doctors. It's how you should be learning in the 21st century. It's a module approach, so it's systems and organ based. So you start with foundations and then you'll build on that with attack and defense. And then you'll build on that with homeostasis, 1, homeostasis 2, and then in your second year, you get into more systems and organs like reproductive systems and genetics. So it's a really cool way to learn, and you learn in small class sizes of maximum 10. So 10 students in one class, and you're taught by a physician, which is really unique in a Caribbean medical school education. You're always going to be taught by a physician. We have state of the art facilities. So, we have simulation labs, lecture halls, really, really great brand new facilities that you'll be able to take advantage of. And because our faculty are physicians, they actually work at the hospital as well on the island. So you'll get some early clinical integration. So you get to see what it's like in the hospital a little sooner, as well as research opportunities in addition to that mentorship that you'll get with that 10-to-1 ratio. Um, as I mentioned, the modern curriculum is very case-based, very hands-on, and it's just a modern approach to how doctors should be adapting and learning in the 21st century. And similar to how you'll have that opportunity in the hospital, as a non-for-profit, we really do focus on social issues, global issues, and Indigenous programming in our curriculum. So we have a public health curriculum, and through that, you'll be able to do work with the Indigenous folks on the island and teach them global health and understand how kind of the environment impacts health. So a cell to society approach that is really, really relevant for the work you're going to do when you come back to Canada. So it's a really fantastic curriculum that creates a holistic doctor. Now, I know you're here for financial aid, but I just want to kind of get into a little bit more about what life on the island is going to be like and what you can expect out of your education. So we are located on the island of Dominica, which is a beautiful island just under St. Lucia. It's not super touristy, so it does still have that charm of a Caribbean island without, being packed with tourists. We are fully accredited, so you'll be able to practice in the USA or in Canada, which is fantastic. We want you to come back home. In Dominica, there are a lot of really great activities that you can take a part of when you're not studying. Our campus is located right on the beach, so you do have a lot of opportunity to study by the ocean. And on a day like today where it's a little bit cold, I just had an ice storm. Our power was out for, two days. A beach sounds really nice right about now. And for accommodations, we have guaranteed accommodations for you on the island. They're about a 5-minute walk to campus and really affordable. Dominica is one of the most affordable islands in the Caribbean. So a 1-bedroom, fully furnished apartment unit with like a pool and a water slide or a waterfall, is about $600 US dollars. So it's quite affordable. You don't have to worry about bringing a couch on the plane. So I know some of you folks have yet to apply and are just starting that process of the application. So you might be wondering what our admissions criteria is. We do require a bachelor's degree or higher. We don't care what it's in, but we do care about your prerequisites. So we need you to have 2 semesters of biology, 2 semesters of chemistry, 1 semester of organic chem, 1 semester of math or biostats, calculus, that counts as well, and 1 semester of physics. We'll need transcripts from your schools, 2 letters of recommendation, a personal statement, a resume, and an MCAT score. And all of this is our holistic approach to admissions that will then move you to the most important part, which is the interview. Why do you want to be a physician? What strengths do you have that will make you a great physician? And your passion, your education, and your academic background will only get you so far. Your hard work, your work ethic, and your resiliency is what kind of gets you through your medical education. We are fully accredited, as I mentioned. We are on the World Federation of Medical Education, which is what allows you to do your residency back here in Canada. So we are really setting the standard for what a modern medical school looks like in the Caribbean. So you don't have to worry about your pathway home, which is kind of something that I also wanted to get into. I know for future students, for students that are planning on doing their medical school, you're kind of at a crossroads right now. You might be hearing a lot about how difficult it is to come back home, especially studying abroad. Canada is currently short 23,000 physicians. We only have 3,000 graduates from our medical schools in Canada each year. we are extremely short. So finally, the government has, wisened up and listened to our cries for help on filling the backlog. And there have been some solutions and policy shifts that have made it a lot easier for Canadian students to come back home. One of those is our provincial governments. They are opening up more seats in certain in the residency match for students. They are changing policies that have previously impacted IMGs coming home. One of them actually just happened yesterday. It was in Alberta. They just made it easier for students from Alberta to apply into the residency match right from their first year. Before, you had to wait a full year if you were a Canadian student studying abroad. Now you can go right into the residency match in Alberta. So there are changes that way. Provincial licensing authorities. So now Ontario, for example, will accept you if you are a board certified in the US. Now you don't have to write any equivalencies. You can come back home and be certified in Canada. So those are some fantastic changes. But what I really want to highlight are the changes that have happened in CARMS, in the residency match here in Canada. In 2024, there were 671 spots for Canadian students who studied abroad. And of those Canadian students who wanted to come home, 87% were matched. That's a fantastic rate, and that's from all international medical schools. So there's been some changes to these policies, and 671 last year, they opened up more seats in the 2025 match. We don't have those official results right now, but we do know that in the first iteration, there were vacancies. So there were more spots in the residency match than there were student physicians to fill them. So it's never been a better time to be a Canadian student studying abroad, wanting to come back home. There's a big stigma about how hard it is, but it's being made easier and easier. Yeah, maybe 10 years ago it was difficult, but in order to fill this backlog of physicians, we need to stop losing our best and brightest students, such as yourself, to the States, to the UK, to Australia. We need to make it easier for you to come back home. And that's what is finally being recognized by the provincial governments. And another way we're kind of addressing this gap here at ACSOM that's very specific to us is we have a team on the ground in Canada. Myself, I am the enrollment coordinator, but I report to the former CEO of CARMS, Sandra Banner. She is on your side to get you back home. My other supervisor is the former CEO of the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons in Canada, so one of Canada's top doctors. And we are working diligently every single day to make it easier for you, if you come to ACSOM, to come back home. One of the ways we're doing this is, if you can see my mouse, I'm not sure if you can, but right here in year 3 on the roadmap, currently all clinical clerkships in Caribbean medical schools take place in the US. Ours are located in California, which is, a fantastic place to be. But we don't want you building a life in California. We don't want you meeting a partner out there, maybe buying a dog, buying a house, and staying there. We want you to come back home. And the way we're doing that is we're the only Caribbean school who's pursuing Canadian clerkships. So we are working with medical schools in Canada. We're working with provincial governments. We're working with hospital groups such as William Osler and Brampton to accept Canadian students in the clerkships for years 3 and 4 in Canada. So that's very unique to us and what we're offering. And we just think that will help prepare you even more for the match. You're going to be prepared if you go to our California partner hospitals, but you'll be even more prepared if you come to Canada, because you'll already understand kind of how our healthcare system works. You'll understand our healthcare law. It's a little bit different than the US. So it'll just give you that leg up. You'll get to meet your mentors in Canada versus in the States. So that's something that we're working on. We're hopeful that we'll have those clerkships in place by 2026. Okay, so I'm going to get to the funding your future, the financial aid and tuition portion of the presentation. And I think my colleague Jane is in the chat. So if you have any questions about financial aid or tuition, please feel free to put them in the chat and we will kind of get to them that way. But we have a wonderful team of financial aid officers here at ACSOM. so wonderful that the second you get your offer of admission, you are told to meet with financial aid because it is such a crucial part of your education and the next steps. We really want to make sure that you understand financial aid. You understand the cost of what your medical education is going to cost you. You understand the scholarships and the loan programs available to you and how we are making it more affordable than ever for you. Another thing that's wonderful about our team is there are lots of resources and tools available for your financial planning. I'll be honest, before I pursued my master's, I had no idea what a line of credit was, or I didn't really understand the loan process. Um, Sorry, I just am addressing my colleague in the chat. We're just there's two links available, and I think Jane registered, but she has to use the link that I sent her in the email. So it's a new system. But Jane, I sent you the email, and yeah, you should be able to find that. Okay, great. So just gonna keep going on until Jane can join, and then she can really help you understand kind of the next steps. Okay. So, for our tuition, that's probably what you're wondering about what our tuition will be. So, our projected tuition for the MD program, which is the medical program that you're looking to attend, is for first and second year is $50,000 USD. For years 3 and 4, it's 57,000 USD. But what's awesome about kind of our social mission is that we are hoping to get more doctors to Canada. So what we have offered our Canadian students is that you are eligible for a 25% scholarship each year of study at ACSOM. So it does bring the cost down quite significantly, and we do the tuition is per year, so not per semester or per cycle. That's the cost for the whole year. So it is more affordable for students than some of the other medical schools that you might be considering internationally. One large reason for that is we want you to graduate with less debt, again, so that you'll come back to Canada and practice here. So this is just kind of an estimated cost of attendance. You'll see that with your scholarship, it comes out to be roughly $50,000 Canadian. And then there's, as I mentioned, we have some of the most affordable room and board in the Caribbean. So that's about $17,000 per year. We've incorporated the flights, miscellaneous expenses. Maybe you like to get your hair done, or you want to go shopping every now and then. And then the other kind of non-negotiable for us is health insurance. So that is a built-in price as well into what you can expect to pay. So we have the kind of total estimated costs over the 2 years listed here. So we don't want cost to be a barrier to your medical education, and that's why we have kind of that affordable tuition specifically for Canadians as well. But we also really want you to have a firm understanding of the costs that are associated with your medical school and how to understand your loans and how to move through that process with full confidence. So our financial aid team provides personalized financial aid counseling to every single student from the moment you are accepted until after you leave ACSOM and you begin your residency. So that's a really great kind of peace of mind that you can have knowing that you're fully taken care of every step of the way. And some of the things that they will cover with you will be paying for the cost of attendance, how to budget and manage your debt, scholarship and loan application assistance, credit counseling, and repayment plans, which is really important. So we do have some financial assistance programs available. We have our honor scholarship in addition to the Canadian scholarship. We have merit-based scholarships, founder scholarships, and then we do have our own private loan education program. So we really do encourage, if you're weighing any of these options, we really would like you to set up a meeting with the financial aid team so that you are able to kind of understand this in more depth. But these don't have to be applied to. So that's another great thing about our application process is not only is it free, but once you apply and go through the interview process, process, if you receive an offer of admission, you also automatically receive your letter of recognition, which is your scholarship. So we have scholarships that we can give to you based off of the quality of your application, based off of your interview. So it's based off of, not only academics, but your community service, things you've done outside of your, academics. That's not the only thing that makes a fantastic physician. So that should also be rewarded. That really brings me to the end of the presentation. What I love to do is talk for a little bit, but leave some time for Q&A. So if you do have any questions about anything we covered, please feel free to put it in the chat. Your future starts today. So this QR code actually takes you to our application. And I know specifically for Canadians right now, you might be hearing back from some of your Canadian medical schools. You might have found yourself, at a bit of a crossroads. You might have found yourself at a bit of a crossroads with whether or not you should try again try 2, 3 more times to get into a Canadian medical school. On average, it takes 3 attempts to get into a Canadian medical school. So you might be looking, okay, do I try again? Do I retake the MCAT? Do I do a master's degree? Or you might be considering, going abroad. And we really do believe that we are the most exceptional alternative to a Canadian medical school because your curriculum will be very similar to what you're experiencing at McGill, U Ottawa, TMU. It's a state-of-the-art curriculum. You won't have as much debt as if you maybe took on another master's on top of your undergrad degree. So if you are thinking about your options, we really would like you to consider ACSOM because by the time you get into a Canadian medical school, maybe in 3 years, you could already be in your clerkships in Canada. That is such a competitive advantage, especially when it comes time to getting your earning potential back. Residents make money, so you can start paying back those loans even sooner than if you're accumulating loans in another master's program or pursuing something or taking time off. So these are just really important things to consider. And that's why we host these webinars is we really want you to weigh all of your options and make a really, really well-informed decision that makes the most sense for you. So that is the link to our application. If you would like to apply, we really encourage you to do so. As I mentioned, it is free and it is quite easy. If you have an OMSAS, if you've already applied, you can apply using your OMSAS to us. So it's really, really quick and simple, and then we'll move through that process with you. We are kind of doing our interviews right now, and our curriculum actually starts in July. We have a July intake, July 21st. So we are really kind of moving towards filling our class for this summer. And if you do want to be part of our July class, I recommend getting in now so that you can go through that process, go through the interview, meet with financial aid, get all of your financing in check. One thing I actually didn't mention was the Canadian professional line of credit. If you aren't looking at taking out a loan and you'd rather kind of maybe pursue a different option, is the line of credit is a really great option for Canadians. It's through all major banks. They offer you up to $400,000. The interest rate is very, very, very low. I believe I just checked and it was 0.25%, and you only pay interest on what you use. So it is a really great option, and it's what Canadian medical students will use. Obviously, the cost of tuition for all medical schools is a bit more steep, so it's a really great option specifically for Canadian students because the banks will back you with these lines of credit, and they are really great as well. They'll help counsel you through the counsel you through the process of how it works, when to pay it back, all those timelines. So the banks are really great for that as well. And Jane just mentioned that if you have applied, you will be getting the Canadian Student Financial Aid package in your email as well this week. So that will go into further detail about kind of some of the things that we've chatted about today. So if you do have any questions at the end, you maybe walk away from that webinar up to your ears and information. If you do have any further questions that come to you, or you want to know about next steps, or maybe you just want to book a one-on-one with me to go over, you're weighing some options and you just want some more information and you want to be sure about your choices, that is what we are here for. We offer such personalized counseling every step of the way. So please feel free to call me, text me, or send me an email. This is all my contact information. Um, and if you have been accepted but not applied, you can directly connect with Jane. She is our director of financial aid, so she's got a lot of really great information. And I'll put her contact information in the chat. She gave me her permission, so I will do that. Jane is such a wealth of knowledge. So if you have any questions or you want to get into your specifics, she is really, really a great person to connect with. On that note, does anyone have any questions? It doesn't have to be about financial aid. It can be about anything really. I can chat about the pathway back home if you'd like to learn more about what that might look like. I know that is definitely top of mind, and unfortunately, the news is definitely reporting that it seems a lot worse than it actually is to come back home. So yeah, with 87% last year matching from abroad all over, and more spots available this year, it's really nice to see. It's really refreshing to see the government actually address some of these challenges that we're having in Canada, and use this as an opportunity to get more of our our top talent back home. Okay, well, as a final just goodbye, I will put my my email in the chat as well. So if anyone has any further questions, I would love to connect with all of you. Okay, well, on that note, I will end the webinar, and it was such a pleasure getting to talk a little bit more about ACSOM and our financial aid opportunities for Canadian students. Take care.